That went almost straight to live. Alright, so today I make pineapple preserves. Back when I used to drive a truck, I would buy strawberries like a half flat at a time. And I'd eat strawberries all day and then make strawberry jam. So my family thinks I'm really good at it, and all I did was just use the Sergio recipe. Recently, my niece contacted me. Somebody gave her a bunch of blueberries or blackberries or something, and she wanted to know how to make jam. I tried to talk her through it. So I decided I'd make a live so she can watch me make a batch. I'm going to use pineapples because, well, I've got pineapples. They were buy one, get one recently at Publix, so I had those, and then I grow a lot of pineapples around my house too. So I've got quite a few right at the moment. This particular recipe is pretty simple. Sure Jail doesn't have one for pineapple. They have them for all kinds of other things when you open them up. Oh, no. This box doesn't have a whole bunch of recipes. That's strange. Every other time I bought them, they had a whole list of how to do it all. Strawberries was 5 cups of strawberries and 7 cups of sugar. Pineapple is just 3 cups of pineapple. And then using pectin, it said to use 3 cups of sugar. Plug in my little hot plate here. When I prepare my fruit, I just pick some type of flat pan and a potato masher, and I mash up all my fruit and get it crushed. Some people try to use a food processor or something like that to cook it, but it makes too fine of a mixture to me for preserves. Preserves should be kind of chunky, I think. I like to use a deep pot because when it starts boiling, it's going to bubble up all over you, and you're going to burn yourself. I usually prepare my jars by boiling the jars. I've gotten a little lazy because I started just throwing them in the microwave for 30 minutes. And my lids, I'll boil them. You want those to stay hot because it creates a better seal if the plastic parts of the lid are hot. A lot of people think you have to use the mason jars. That's not really true. Any lid that has a popping lid, you can reuse them as long as you get them good and hot. As you heat this stuff up, it will break down the fibers of the fruit that you're using and get gooier and gooier, or more liquefied, I should say. You want to stir constantly. If you let it sit at all, it's going to scorch, especially when you put the sugar in. And the sugar will scorch really bad. I'm having to use a hot plate because my stove broke on me recently. The glass top just cracked. And I had one out back I was saving because I want to do an outdoor kitchen. I moved it inside and rewired it, and damn thing don't work. So it's just a countertop right at the moment. Will Dutton, hello. And I'm making pineapple preserves. Most of this pineapple came from Publix. Some of it is one that I grew in my yard. I grow quite a few of them every year. And every pineapple I get, I try to keep the top, put it in a pot, and plant it around the yard. I think I had 7 this year. The first time I did this, I had like 13 or 14 of them one year. Because I got plants scattered all over. And if you can see, it's starting to break down a little bit as it heats up. I prep everything ahead of time for this because you'll have to be kind of fast with it when you put the sugar in and all. And you got to bring it to a full rolling boil, which no more juice than I have in this right now. I'm not sure if it will. A full rolling boil is one that will not go away as you're stirring it. When things start to boil, usually you stick a fork or a spoon in there and the boil will go away if you're stirring it. That's also the reason I use the long spoon, because when it's a full rolling boil, you're going to cook your fingers. All the steam. When I start videoing these, I realize, this shit's kind of slow and boring it takes a long time sometimes. As long as you're stirring it, no matter how hot it actually gets, it won't scorch. So mostly doing this just so my niece can see how I go about doing it. Freaks me out when I watch these later on because everything's backwards. My watch is on the wrong hand. I'm using the wrong hand all the time because flipping the screen makes it all backwards. Selena Thomas, hello. I'm actually able to read today without my glasses. I do these live because, well, I'm too lazy to edit them. Yesterday was mini season for lobstering. We get 2 days in Florida at the end of every July. The last Wednesday and Thursday is, we call it mini season. Recreational divers can go out and dive before the traps get put in on August 6th. So yesterday I went lobstering, and I'm saving my editing work on my cheap freebie editing program for that. So these things I just do live. And I get to hear how often I'll start speaking and start to say one word and decide mid-sentence or mid-word sometimes to change the word that I'm using. Makes me sound like an idiot. I got one person hanging in there with me. Yeah, it's kind of boring. Watch them later and you fast forward through me till I can do something interesting. This doesn't have a lot of liquid, so it's not boiling real good. And to get that full rolling boil going, kind of hard to tell. But that's boiling pretty decent. So I'm going to add in my pectin, my Sure Gel. Throw in a splash of lemon juice to help firm it. And 1 pat of butter to reduce how much it foams up. Hello, Lavanda. Sorry, I can't pronounce that. But hello, thanks for joining me. Alright, so I put my pectin in, my Sure Gel. Splash of lemon juice, supposed to help firm things up some. A pat of butter, supposed to reduce the foaming. It makes it a little bit more soupy, so I can see the boiling process a little better. Now we'll want to bring it up to a rolling boil again and add the sugar. This recipe was 3 cups of crushed pineapple and 3 cups of sugar. Then of course the Sure Gel, and I added the lemon and the butter, even though the recipe I looked up didn't call for it. I just always did it with the lemon, with the strawberry jam. There's several recipes that I've seen where adding a little bit of juice or lemon juice into things helps it firm up. I think with this, if you wanted a lot of jelly with not as many chunks, you could probably do like 2 cups of crushed strawberry and maybe 1 cup of juice. I mean, not strawberry, pineapple. 2 cups of pineapple and then a cup of pineapple juice. Almost every time I've ever done this, I've always been doing strawberries, so I revert back to that. Starting to boil a little, but it's got a ways before it's a full rolling boil. But that's why I use this long spoon. I can keep my hand out of the steam off the pot somewhat. Wouldn't mind it being a little bit longer. Thirteen, 14 minutes into this. I've lost everybody now. My cousin asked about stuff, that sharks, the other day, and so I said, hey, come check out my channel, and I got that shark dive from when I went to Fiji, and then we just went and watched all of my lives and laughed our asses off. Because I don't measure as much of anything, and he's like, yep, we're definitely kin. And I told him I was thinking about doing this because Lex asking me about it, and we got to talking. He had done strawberry jam one time that didn't sit up. Sometimes it happens. And I was like, yeah, when it happened to me, I just use it like syrup on on ice cream. He goes, yeah, it happened to us. We made strawberry daiquiris out of it. I was like, oh, that's a good idea. The other thing that happens, the closer it gets to a full rolling boil, the more steam you get and it's harder to see. And if it was more liquidy, it would really roll. I think it's there. Yeah, it's still. So I'm going to add my sugar in now. This is where you really got to stay on stirring it, because the sugar will scorch and burn if you don't stay on it. And then after just a little bit, just that amount of time, it's already starting to liquefy. Now I've got my jars in the microwave full of water. I've already nuked them a couple of times so that my water boiled inside of them. Sanitizes my jars a little bit. And I'll use my microwave as a timer. Once it starts to roll and boil, you got to keep stirring for a full minute. So I'll hit start on the microwave, and when it's gone, my jars stay good and hot, and I timed how long I was stirring. And it's right there, which makes it really easy. You can see in the pot, there's like that sugar more than doubled the size of what I was stirring. If you use canned pineapple, you won't have these little chunks where you skin the live one or the whole one. But I think that makes it look more authentic and homemade. Room to work here in a minute. Damn, this is boring as hell. Got 20 minutes into it, watching me just stir this crap. But we're getting close, just waiting on it to get that full rolling boil. Then I'll take it, I'll do it for a minute, take it off the heat, and I'll put it in jars. I was thinking the whole process took between 20 and 30 minutes of cooking time, which, according to the timer on here, seems about right. Cruise Hill, hello, very good butter chicken. No, making pineapple preserves. Reading when people comment actually helps me think of something to say from time to time. Talking is not really my strong suit. I teach scuba some, so that has made me much more sociable. Some people that knew me as a kid found out I was doing YouTube and doing these. They're like, "Are you kidding me? Really?" But give the world a different perspective. Mostly I do this because I started the YouTube for some of my dive trips. A way to share video and make them better. And I started doing things like this. Just I can't afford to take a dive trip all the time, so I'll do things like this just to keep the channel active. In my redneck way of doing things is probably a different perspective for people. Let you know, hell, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Damn, gotta change hands. One day I'm going to clean up the rest of the kitchen other than this one little section and do this from the opposite angle. If you could see what's behind the camera, you'd freak out. Then doing this with you guys watching, I realized just how long some things take. Doing it myself, just listening to TV or radio usually. But people come in and out, and I'm like, I don't blame them. Sitting here watching me stir a pot for 20 minutes, it's kind of boring as hell. My niece that I'm doing this for, she actually got on to me when I first did the video. She's like, you got to find some music or something to put on your dive videos. Nobody wants to listen to you breathe for 10 minutes. Yeah, and standing over this, it does get hot. And it's starting to boil and pop on me. Tasted good. But that's why the deep pot and the long spoon, because it will start boiling onto you. Kind of like frying bacon. It's going to pop on you from time to time. That's why you never fry bacon without a shirt. Of course, I've gotten lazy and started baking it. Thought I might do 2 batches of this tonight, but by the time I clean up from this one, I might say to hell with it. I definitely won't video 2 of them. One will be plenty. It's starting to bubble a little bit, but it's a long way from that full rolling boil. Usually when I hit the full rolling boil, I say, all right, that's it. And I hit the timer. And a few seconds later, it's like, whoa, now it's seriously boiling. Louis Ramsey. No. He must have said something mean and decided to change his mind. Ramsey, that would have been funny if it was Gordon Ramsay commenting on my cooking ability. Exciting stuff, I bet. I at least got something to do. Just sitting there watching me do this, it'd have to be boring as fucking hell. I'm bored standing here now. One thing I didn't think about when I open the microwave, it's going to go right in front of the camera. Damn it. Hurry up. Last thing you want to do though is stop stirring, because you will scorch the bottom. And then the whole thing will taste burnt. Most of it's broken down pretty good. There is still some pretty good sized chunks in there. Guess if I videoed it and then just did a quick time lapse or something, it might be better, but then I'd have to figure out how to do that. I have barely figured out how to piece videos together at this point. And then, however, I was putting music to the dive videos, the stuff that just came with the Flip Champ program, but it's like that went away. Somebody told me my editing stuff would be much better if I wasn't so cheap. If I actually paid for an editing program, that it'd be much better. Like, I'm never going to make money doing this, so why bother? Do the cheap stuff. Damn it, come on. Ooh. Like I said, it's starting to get on me now. But pretty close. More people are actually watching me stir this pot now. Now at 28 minutes. More people have commented, but I can't really. Butter, no, I'm making pineapple preserves. Good and hot, but I don't think it's at that full rolling boil yet. And my stove broke down, so I'm just using this eye I used to use when I would go camping and stuff. It may not get hot enough, who knows. Of course, if there's an electric plug-in for you to plug an eye in, you're not really camping. I have done jobs away from home where I would stay at a campground though, instead of getting a room. And it works great then because you're not full on camping if you're actually working during the day. Alright, I'm just going to go ahead and start this time. It's not rolling like I want, but I'm getting tired of sitting here doing this. Been stirring this damn thing for 30 minutes now. Like I said, if it don't sit up good and firm, I'll just put it on some vanilla ice cream. It doesn't seem like it's going to get boiling any better than what it's doing. Alright, there's a minute. I'm just going to unplug this eye, slide the whole thing over, and pull this off of the heat. Grab a towel, taking a jar out. I'm going to dump the water out. I just picked the whole pot up and pour it in. There, I used an old Tostito jar. I'll fish out a lid from this pot of hot water where I kept it so it's soft. Any jar lid that makes that pop, you can use. You know, wipe the threads down just a little bit. Put the lid on good and snug. Now you're going to turn it upside down. And just let it sit there for about 5 minutes. Now here's the actual little mason jar. The first time I made strawberry jam, I actually did like they said and ladled it into the jars and everything. I'm like, my God, that takes forever. Voila, that come out just about perfect. Fish this flat out of here. Like that being, I got a pretty chunk on there. Put the flat on. Screw the lid down. Turn it over. Now the science behind this is it cools off a little bit. It can't take any air in being upside down, so this will lose volume as it cools, because the hot air expands. As it cools, it will contract, and then when you turn it over, you'll hear them pop during the night. Some of them pop right away, some of them will pop 2 or 3 hours later. But that is how I make my jam. A lot of people like to put them in boilers, the water bath and all this, but if it goes in the jar hot, it'll create a vacuum on its own. I even did it one time with a big pot of chili. I canned a couple of jars. So, like I said, I'll let that sit there for 5 minutes or so, and then I'll come back and turn them over. And that's it. Now I'm just going to clean stuff up, and I might make another batch, being it's fairly early. It's only 5 o'clock. I got rained out today, so I came home to tinker around and do some other stuff. I hope somebody finds this helpful and enjoyed watching. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time I feel like the kitchen's clean enough I can make a video. Hey, y'all, hope everybody has a nice night.